Welcome, everybody, to the You Are Worthy Network. I'm your host, Steve Wormer. Happy Wednesday. Good to be with each of you today. I'm excited to introduce you to our special guest today, and I will tell you a little more about her in just a second. But if you're new to the network, I just want to say thank you for joining. And you might be tempted to say, well, what is this You Are Worthy Network all about? What is this? Maybe the name resonated with you. I can tell you in short, I'll try to be brief. My joke about that is I am a pastor, so you have to forgive me if I'm not as short as you hope I would be. But it's really a rebuttal to my own stinking mindset that I've carried with me for a lot of years. And as I started to have some more consistent victories, because let me tell you, folks, nobody's perfect at mindset and nobody does it alone. And everybody has not good mindset days. Trust me. But as we start to grow in our mindset and have more victories, and I did, I wanted to give back. And I knew where the origin came from of my bad mindset, my unhealthy mindset. But the problem was I knew it here and it had to travel here. And once it did, I was like, oh, millions of people are struggling with this. What can I do to try to help? Because I'm still like a kid in a candy store with mindset. I'm like, yeah, tell me more, tell me more. And I just want to help you guys and myself. This is good for me because I'm serving, like, bring a little encouragement and hope into what's a very dark world right now. And if I can do that by bringing on incredible people that have incredible stories, not just their highlights, although that's cool, right? We want to hear victories, but also what they've overcome because that's what we relate to because we're all going through something or about to go through something. That's why I'm doing it. And I hope that makes sense because I'm grateful that you're here and I'm grateful for each one of you. And so that's the You Are Worthy Network. And I also want to just remind everybody because we just went on Spotify late last week. So all the interviews that'll take a while because we've done close to 140. They'll eventually all be there. I think if you go there now, there's maybe eight or nine there and Kerry's interview will be there, hopefully here in just a few hours, but hopefully by the time the day's out. So I just want to bring that all to your attention as well. But I know you're saying, Steve, be done with it. We want to know about Kerry. I get it. I'm going to introduce you. Kerry Thomas is the founder of Conquer the Chaos and is a systems and simplicity specialist who helps busy professionals move from overwhelm to clarity. With a master's degree in special education, Kerry brings a unique understanding of how different learning styles in ADD brains process information, make decisions, and build habits that actually stick. Since launching her business in 2007, Kerry has worked with leaders and small business owners to create sustainable systems for their work, home, and lives. She is a certified productive environment specialist and a TEDx speaker, best known for her 2017 talk From Clutter to Clarity. Kerry believes organization isn't about perfection or rigid rules. It's about creating peace, clarity, and systems that support real life so people can focus on what matters most. Okay, like I need to hire Kerry right now after reading that. Kerry, welcome to the You Are Worthy Network.
Thank you so much, Steve. I'm really honored to be here.
Well, those of you guys that don't know, which would be, I guess, everybody but Kerry and I, the enemy tried his best to keep us from having this. We've had to reschedule at least twice, maybe three times, just because of
At
different
least.
life keeps lifing for both of us.
Mhm.
But we would not be derailed. Here we are. So I'm glad you persevered with me. Thank you.
Yes.
Um, Kerry, why don't you tell everybody where you call home? Where do you do life?
I am in Central Florida. I am in the Villages, which, funny enough, I used to not say because there's so many horrible rumors about this place, but I love it. So now I proudly claim it as home. I've been here about 2 years, so it's right smack dab in the middle of Florida, north of Orlando. I've moved around so much in my life, but I did grow up mostly in this state, and so it's home.
It's kind of like for me buying a new car. Like I'd never heard of the Villages until a few months ago, and now I hear it everywhere.
Yeah, I see it everywhere. Yeah. I lived in your town for 8 years. We talked about that.
My former town, right? We're
Oh,
talking
yeah.
about Nashville.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, that's
Yep.
right. Yeah, how long did you live in Nashville?
8 years.
And when were you
Yeah.
there?
I was there from 99 to 2007.
Yeah, yeah, I was definitely there. Definitely some overlap there. That's crazy. Small
Yep,
world sometimes.
it is.
So, so who do you do life with? Tell us about your family.
Yeah. So I live here with my partner, Sean. We've been together, gosh, almost 5 years. And it was his idea to move here. I kind of laughed when he said we met in North Carolina and we visited and I was hooked. And now I think I like it more than him. I have two grown sons. They're so old, I don't even want to say. They're 30 and 26. They're both married. One's in Ohio, one is actually going to buy a house soon in St. Augustine, so about 2 hours from me. And yeah, that's life.
That's awesome. St. Augustine's beautiful too.
It is. Yeah, it's really nice.
I'd never been until a couple years ago. I've got dear friends in Jacksonville, and they said, "You ever been to St. Augustine?" I said, "Nope." And they's like, "We're gonna have lunch at a restaurant on the beach." And I was like, okay, yep, this is nice."
Twist my arm.
Yeah, don't have to ask me twice. So what do you guys like to do for fun?
Oh my gosh. See, that answer is different now because I live here. I discovered platform tennis, which is like tennis and racquetball had a baby. That I discovered that. I love it. I started playing golf. I'm not very good at it, but I like it after a lifetime of being afraid of golf, really, like not thinking I would ever try it. But I do that. I've also discovered mahjong. So that's me. Us together, we love concerts. We just went to one last weekend, any type of live music. And this is going to sound silly, but just like we'll take the golf cart out and just go see the sunset, or just there's so many opportunities to be outside here. I'm not like an ambassador for people moving to Florida, but I am very happy since I've come back.
Sounds like an ambassador to me.
Yeah.
Okay, so you'll have to explain a little bit more about platform
Oh,
tennis.
yeah. So it
Yeah,
was
what? I've
developed
never heard of that.
It was developed up north, and it was for tennis players who wanted to play in the winter, but they didn't like playing indoors. So they developed, and it was actually up north, it's on raised platforms so that you can put heaters underneath and melt the snow and ice and sweep it out. So it's just like tennis, but it's a little bit smaller. And I'm going like this because it's surrounded by wire screens. And so the main difference is if the ball hits in the court, and then hits the screens, you can still play it. So that's where it's like a racquetball type thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
fascinating. So it's not like pickleball,
No.
but it's a
Mm-mm.
combination of racquetball and tennis. That's fascinating. Okay,
Yes.
I've never heard of it before. I'll have to look that up.
Yep.
Um, well, the intention here is to have a little fun. But
Okay.
even more importantly than the fun is I like to get into the mindset of 17 and 18-year olds. My son, my oldest son, is 17, just graduated high school about a month ago. And like he's in that stage of thinks he knows what he wants to do. He switches here and there, but he's a hard worker. Like he doesn't want to live here forever, which is good, right? Don't want him to leave too soon. He's not even 18 yet. But he's in that weird stage of I'm done with high school. what's next, but I'm not even 18 yet. So it's a fascinating age to me. But let's take you back to almost graduation date. There's a week left. You have your cap and gown. Maybe you've got a class ring. You've got the big date on the calendar. You're marking the dates down. You know, maybe you've been put in charge of getting the beach ball for the ceremony. Uh, what's the mindset? Is it senioritis to the max? Get me out of here. I have a plan. I know what I'm going to do. I know
Gosh.
how I'm going to get there. The world is mine. Let's go. Or is it the other end of the spectrum? Like, well, I'm not sure. I'm going to miss this place. I guess I better get a job. I'll figure it out. And there's no right or wrong answer. I'm just interested where you were at that time.
Yeah, I have not thought about being 17 years old in a very long
That's
time.
why we do it, by the way.
Oh my goodness. So, like your son, I graduated at 17. I actually had just turned 17. I skipped fifth
Wow.
grade and my birthday is like May 27th. So, I had just turned 17. But at that point in my life, I wasn't really going to miss high school. My two best high school friends were my roommates in a triple freshman year at college. So there, that was easy. I was much more serious at that stage than I was probably 19, 20, 21. I thought I knew I was going to be an ophthalmologist. I was going to medical school. I didn't drink. I didn't smoke. I didn't like, I was very, very serious. Um, so I don't know. The University of Florida might have ruined that seriousness a little bit. I still have my bachelor's and master's degree, but not, I didn't go to medical school. Um, but I was ready. I was very ready. And maybe it's a Gen X thing or just, the difference in the times. But my friend Marissa and we got in the car and drove and we drove 8 hours north from Miami to Gainesville. We didn't have a map. We didn't know to go to orientation. And we got off of the interstate and guessed. And we guessed right. Like, I think the school's that way. So luckily
How it went.
Gainesville's
Yep.
not a big town. But I was I was very ready to go. I'm the oldest, and I don't know that stereotype, but maybe I was always responsible, whatever. But I was a pretty serious kid.
Yeah. It sounds like you were responsible, and I had to chuckle because I was having a conversation with someone the other day about it was yesterday, somebody reached out to me on WhatsApp to adjust
Mhm.
their appointment with me in the afternoon. And I check WhatsApp like once every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's just not my app by choice. And I'm like, but it got me thinking about all the different ways that we can be contacted now.
Mhm.
Text, cell, email, WhatsApp, was it Telegram,
Yeah.
Messenger, LinkedIn. I'm leaving some out. And like
Voxer.
Voxer. I mean,
Hmm.
there's no end to it. And
Yeah.
back in the time you're describing, we didn't have GPSs. We
No.
didn't have you took a guess, like you said.
We
Or
got
if
on
you
the
were really good at
turnpike and went
directions,
north.
I think it's east. I'll follow the sun. I mean, and if you did get lost, you didn't have a cell phone. You had to ask somebody or find a payphone.
Hmm.
It's just a different time, right?
Yep.
So it's you were just bringing back memories of that. Um, so you did not end up going to be an ophthalmologist. Something changed along the journey.
Yes, chemistry. I had the mathematical brain. I thought I had the science brain. That's why I wanted to do it, but chemistry just tripped me up. And so I took the first one again, got a B, like it went from a D to a B. Took the second one again, I think I got an A minus in that one, but I quickly realized that I didn't have the time or resources to take every science class twice in college. So I,
Mm.
sh I shifted to special education, which I had volunteered and I always liked teaching and liked that thing. So it was an easy fit.
Okay. All right. So you
Yeah.
eventually became a special ed teacher, I take it?
Yep, I did. Yeah,
And how
middle
long did you
school.
do that?
I did that, I think, 9.5 years.
Okay. Do you like that age that you were working with?
I did. I worked with students who were mainstreamed and we did consultation plus some, contained classes for math and reading, but we had a team. And so we joked that the one person, Jim, if he ever switched, he would go down or no, my friend Terry would go down, Jim would stay and but I loved that age. Like I wanted to be, that was my sweet spot. I fumbled that story horribly, but that was my sweet spot. They were still kids, but you could have conversation and they didn't have the senioritis yet. They weren't on their way out.
Mm.
But I will say, I have to back myself up a little bit. There's a look that only occurs in nature on the face of an eighth grade girl. Only they can make this look like disinterest, disdain. I don't even know what it is. And so that was a funny part of the job.
Are you politely trying, and I have to be careful how I say it too. Are you politely saying a look that speaks volumes and they never have to say a word?
Yes, definitely. And it
Mm.
was just funny because I I realized I carried myself with that same, I looked at my mom that same way or my teachers that same way, I'm sure. But luckily it doesn't last long from what I've seen. But I raised boys, so people are probably shaking their heads at their computer right now.
Although boys, I've heard my wife say to my youngest son, who's 15, I've heard her say to him a number of times, "You better not roll your eyes at me again." Or else. I think there's just something about that age, right?
Yep. Yeah.
So, special ed, you said for 7 years or 9 years?
9.
9 years. Okay.
Mhm.
So, what made you leave that behind?
I had gone back after my oldest son was born, and he was not doing well in daycare. And so I had actually just filled out the paperwork and been approved for a 1 year leave of absence to just kind of step back, get him in a better place, whatever. And then at that same time, my ex-husband took a job in no, we moved to a different city. We moved to Jacksonville. I moved so many times, I can't get it straight. So I took that opportunity to stay home with him a little longer than that intended year. And then we had my younger son. And so the whole thing transpired because then we moved and moved and moved and moved, but we downsized and bought a less expensive house. And it afforded me the option, the ability to stay home with my boys. So if you've ever taught, you know how difficult it is to then go teach in a new state. There's hoops you have to jump through and you have to get, your certification redone. Every state has different laws and different rules. And so every time I was like, just about like, I miss it. I think I'm ready. I think I'm going to go back to teaching. We would move to a new state. So that never happened. So that's why in 2007, I started my business.
So, tell us about that. Like, and I'm probably not going to call it right, but you're from clutter, no, from chaos. Tell me the name of the business.
Conquer the chaos.
Conquer the chaos. So, how does that, where is that bred from? Where is that birth from? Like, is that something that you struggled with or you saw people struggling with? You had a natural tendency to fix those kind of things? Are you an organizational guru? Where does that all come from?
It's evolved, is the short answer. When it started, if I go back to 2007, it started from that natural tendency. I've always loved, even I love setting up my classroom, just like setting it
Mm,
up in the colored folders and the I've always loved organizing. It brings me peace. Actually, it's like a soothing thing for me. I don't have a perfect home, but I do like it tidy, say. So I have a natural tendency, and I had a friend who had become a professional organizer. And so I thought, oh, I can do this. I also had a friend at the time who needed help in her home. And so she said, well, if you'll take the classes and you'll figure everything out, I'll be your guinea pig. And so we worked through her home. And then, ironically, we moved again. And so when we landed in Virginia, I just took that opportunity because I'd only had that one client, but I took that opportunity to start fresh. Nobody knew me there. So I printed business cards. I got my, business license, and I just arrived and said, "Hi, I'm a professional organizer." It was a clean start and an easy way to start a new business because I was in a new town, and it took off from there.
it's fascinating. I mean, maybe I'm just newer to the space, but it sounds very niche. And I'm guessing, tell me if I'm wrong, I'm guessing you probably don't have a lot of competition.
Uh, Now I don't. If I
Hmm.
still had the same business model that I did then, which was true traditional home organizing, there is competition. I know two great people here where I live now, that they're excellent at what they do. And but my business evolved. So once I got my productive certified productive environment specialist, that's a mouthful, but once I got that certification, then that narrowed it down because then I had learned the skills to work with businesses and set up offices. So I learned that. So that narrowed it down. And then once I did my TED talk and people wanted me to work with them about internal clutter, which I'm sure now you're going to ask me questions. Um, and I turned the first half dozen down. And then I realized this is what people want. This is the real problem. And so I took coaching courses, and I, so now my business is like a whole like melting pot of all of my previous skills. So now, no, that I don't have any competition. And I can say that very confidently. There is no one else that has my combination and, my master's degree and my ADHD endorsement and the years of home organizing, the business certification, plus now the coaching piece. So no, I don't, I don't know. I'm me. I'm not, but no, there's not a lot.
Yeah, I'm getting very interested in the conversation at this point. And I
Okay.
do I want to come back to internal clutter in a second. Um, I have this image, and I'm sure you've seen it, but I'm also sure that it's not the norm. I'm having flashbacks to the TV show Hoarders a little bit.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure you've seen it.
Hmm.
I'm sure that's on the extreme side.
Yeah, there are
And
levels. There are levels of hoarding. Yeah.
and from what the producer of that show tries to get us to see, and it's probably true in a lot of cases, is the person is really having probably internal clutter,
Hmm.
letting go. And they probably would not pay someone to do
Right.
this. However, you have paying clients that want the clutter gone and they
Right.
want the organization. Tell us how that all comes about when you meet somebody for the first time. What are they looking for? Give us an insight. Give us some examples of what they're trying to organize in their life.
Okay. It's never the same. I will say
Mm,
that. I have clients that are just straight. business clients like, hey, we have, our CRM's a mess and we're using too many different task managers and we have OneDrive and we have, Google Docs and they really just need help with their information flow and their systems. And so that's what
Mm,
I call very cut and dry, like that side of my business, that side of my brain. The interesting thing, though, with those people is once I develop a relationship with them, rarely is that where it ends because then they're like, oh, well, can you help us with this? And in my house, we have these things and it leads to conversations. And so I have a lot of what I call crossover clients that I have people that have done my group program, which deals with all types of clutter and a lot of the internal. Who also are business clients, who also have hired me to come where they live and work in their home for a certain number of days. So I have these crossover clients, but a lot of people, if to really answer your question of what they're struggling with, a lot of people it is their whole home. Things have gotten out of control. I think what happens, and you said people don't want to pay, they also don't want to admit a lot of times. I hear the word shame second only to the word overwhelmed. Those are the two biggest words
mm,
that I hear when it comes to, things in people's homes. And my clients, they come to me because they're ready. They have a big enough why. Maybe they want to downsize. Maybe they want to, move across the country. Maybe they want to, um, I have, just different people right now. Someone, they want to have foster children or they want to like their why has gotten big enough. And they also my sales cycle, so to speak, is very long because people have to trust me. And there are people in my world that I'm working with right now that are paying clients that first found me 3, 4 years ago. And they watch and wait until they know, okay, she's not going to judge. She's not going to tell anyone about this. She's not going to shame me. And they they reach out when they're ready for that change. Now, people, I mean, it's so much. It could be you can't get your car in the garage, which I don't do myself physically anymore, but I'm really good at coaching people to take their own actions. Or it could be your email, 500,000 email, whatever it is. It could be, um, life threw you a curve and things got out of control. My last group program accidentally, well, God, it wasn't accidental with God, but everyone except for one of the women had lost their spouse, lost their husband. And I didn't know that.
mm.
They didn't know that. I didn't go recruiting widows. But sometimes things get out of control, whether it's been through a death, sadly, like that, or people have gone through an illness, or it's just been a really hard time, or you've gone through a depression, or um, it's it it's when people know that their environment, and you can define environment by your house, your office, what's in here, your car, you can define your environment a lot of ways. But people call me when their environment is not serving them, when it's clogged up and they're not navigating their life with ease, or they're not living out their purpose because they feel like they can't. There's too much stuff in the way.
I, I can see now where it's fascinating. Like probably most of your days are all different.
They are.
And I can see that they're going to have to trust you. So you're building a long-term relationship. And I
Mhm.
can see them coming back to you and expanding on what they originally called you for. It's
Yep.
fascinating. And I'm thinking like maybe I'm using this as a segue for the ADD portion. I'm not sure, but like I'm trying to debate whether I really want to go here or not. Well, we have a joke in our family that we're the acronym family. And I don't even get I get the basic terms, but I don't get all the fancy terms of today. I'm the only one that doesn't have one of the acronyms, and I don't say that to boast. I'm just giving you perspective.
Yeah.
Uh, all the rest of my wife and kids have ADD. One of them has ADHD, and I remember very early on, um, a professional telling us that our youngest, who's 15 now, like you can't give him more than one task at a time, and it's got to
Mm,
be very spelled out. And I still watch it. He's gotten better, but I still watch to this day. Like, and some of it's just being 15, right? Like you take the cap off the milk bottle, you pour yourself a glass of milk, and the milk might sit there.
yeah.
Like for me, put the milk back in the fridge, put the cap back on, put the fridge. He may
Yeah.
miss that step of
Closing
putting the cap back.
cabinets is another one. The
Oh,
cabinets stay
or,
open.
or it comes out of the trash and the trash is on the counter instead of in the trash can.
Hmm.
And it's like, okay, I have to understand, but maybe somebody called him to do something else at the same time too, or maybe he just forgot. Anyway, it's just fascinating. So are you basically does ADD, does it enhance that issue even more?
Oh, yes. Yes. 90, about 90% of my clients have ADD, and a lot of them were diagnosed later in life. Um, it does because what happens, like ADD can be a superpower, right? Like when my clients focus, hyper focus is not always desired, but oh my gosh, sometimes they can get a lot of stuff done. Um, but what happens with ADD, or you said just various acronyms, is you live your life sadly many times fitting into someone else's system. What
Mm.
people say, like, oh, you should do this, like, this should work. This is how you do filing system. This is how you keep track of your tasks. This is how you organize your closet. And there are books, there are TV shows, there's heaven forbid, there's like Pinterest or TikTok with like all the things lined up and all the, and a lot of people love that. And if you're one of them listening, that's great. I'm not that person. Like, you don't want to hire me if you want your house to just look perfect. Um, and a lot of people, that's where the shame comes in because their brain doesn't
Mm.
work that way. So one of the first things I do with my clients is I have them take a learning styles inventory because it matters. It matters if you're very visual or very auditory or tactile, kinesthetic. I stick with the main categories. You can get into the minutia a little bit with learning styles, but most of the time, the main categories are enough for me to get a good feeling of the direction, especially with offices, of how to set up the office. But yeah, but it even matters in my interaction with my clients. And so I've tweaked and tried some things, but I used to, like, okay, here's a portal and here's these. I quickly figured out my clients were not watching videos on their own. Like when I wasn't that they didn't want a course. It didn't matter, I figured that out pretty quickly. Um, I figured out, like you said, like, three things, three max, like these are your priorities. Sometimes it's two or one. And then, okay, do this one
Yep.
thing and then text me when it's done, even if that's before our next call. And great, then we'll go on to the next thing. Um, but the awesome thing about it is people who have felt like you mentioned, I think you said like stinking thinking when we first got on, people have that have had that and have thought, I can't get organized. I'm a wreck. I'm a disaster. I blah, blah, blah. Once they get some success, it's really exciting for them and for me because then they're bought in and then they're like, okay, what's next? I can do this. And so I have my clients, the very first thing we do is it could be like a foot by foot, like one by one section. I don't care what it is, a nightstand or whatever, but we declare a clutter free zone and they clear it off, make it nice. And that's all we do. Like the first week, it could be one half of your kitchen counter, like whatever it is, because then they like get that muscle of, yeah, look at me. I kept this clean for 2 whole weeks or whatever it is. Um, so you have to break it down into smaller pieces.
It's fascinating. And by the way, I'm glad that your camera can only see me from here up because I'm looking at my desk right now, and it's functional chaos, which I'm sure you've heard that term before. I'm looking at post-it notes and pins, and I've got some sports cards on my desk. I've got some business cards. I got legal pads. I got books. I got keynote speeches. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what I would say is, does that all work for you? Or if not, what are the parts that don't work that are causing you aggravation or friction? And that's what you fix. Like your desk might not ever look
I'm good with
perfect,
it.
and it doesn't have to. It doesn't have
Yeah.
to.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it works. It doesn't frustrate me most of the time. I do want to hit on the transformation piece, which you alluded to that just a second ago, but I want to take you back for a second first.
Mhm.
Um, I caught a couple of specific words that you use, and of course, I have to use my readers to find it. Um, shame and overwhelmed. So we're going to do a little exercise here.
Okay.
Let's take a sampling of your clients, and I know they're all different and all have different needs. But I would imagine that shame and overwhelm is probably a common theme running through that sampling of clients.
Mhm.
Now, in this exercise we're going to do, you got something working really for you is when I don't do this very often, but I do it once in a while. I usually ask the guest to name 3 words to describe what their clients were feeling before they retained you. You've already given us 2. What would be the third to add to shame and overwhelmed?
Frustration, frustrated.
Okay. So now
Yeah.
we have shame, overwhelmed, and frustrated. And this is where you get to tell people about the transformation a little bit. After working with you for whatever period of time is needed for the specific case that they need, what would you say 3 words are now on the other side?
Uh, clarity, calm, and confidence.
I knew you were going to do 3 C's. I could feel it. I could feel that. That's the organization in you.
It must be. That was not my intention, but I really like it.
But I like it too because I am looking at it, and now I want you and everyone that eventually watches this to hear the power in it. So working with Kerry, you can feel confident that you're going to move from shame to confidence, from overwhelmed to calm, and from frustrated to clarity. That's powerful.
I stand by that.
I'll pay for that. That's awesome. And um, tell us, and maybe you get to have some of these days now that I'm about to describe. Tell us if it was an ideal day for you. Tell us about what it would look like from start to finish, from your morning routine. I don't know if you're like a big walker, a big coffee drinker, a go to the gym gal, but say there's no other responsibilities other than what you want to do and who you get to serve, who you get to help. What would that ideal look like from sunrise to sunset?
Okay. I do like to do lots of different exercise, but I'm going to go, like you said, ideal. So I'm going to go with my favorite. I would wake up, I would do my daily devotional while I drink my coffee, have like some prayer time, quiet time. I don't do written enough, so my ideal day would include like writing in my prayer journal. Then I would go to platform tennis. I would play for a couple of hours. I would come back, shower, clean up, that kind of thing. Um, I would, no offense to my one-on-one clients, but my ideal, he asked me ideal, I would have my group, my frustration to freedom group. I now have like a graduate program, a maintenance program. So I would have I would have both of them, my favorite people. And I would probably throw in a one-on-one, like a business client to get like that hit of the business side of things. Then I would be done by about 4, and I would go to the pool and I would come home. We would eat dinner. We would go listen to some live music, come home, and I would finish up my notes for the day, all my client notes, and that would be it. I would say I'm not a TV person. Like I never turn on the TV unless it's sports. But I will say we have been watching like this summer from the beginning a show that I never saw, which is West Wing, and I really like it. So right now, my ideal day would include watching like an episode of West Wing, which normally you would never hear me mention TV anywhere in my ideal day. But right now it does.
Okay, and so you're hitting the cool side of the pillow by when?
Um, 9:30.
Okay, and you're an early riser, I bet.
Yeah, I like to be up. I like to be up by 6. I need a lot of
Okay,
sleep if you couldn't tell from that math.
I like it. I like it. So tell us just briefly about frustration to freedom. That's a group class, obviously, right?
Yes. Yeah. So it's
It's
on
all
Zoom.
virtual. Yep.
Yes, it's virtual. There are very few of them now that I haven't met in person, which is kind of fun and exciting. I've traveled to work with many of them in person, but it is a virtual. It's really semi-private, more than a group, no more than 6 women at a time. And all of the women they meet with me to create their plan. What are you trying to work on? Is it paper? Is it your house, like physical stuff? Is it like what are your projects, your organizing projects that you're trying to work on? We also talk a little bit about their their vision for their life in general. We dive a tiny bit into their internal clutter on our initial call, but not much. It's more about their practical goals. And then the course is 14 weeks. We meet weekly. Then there's also a co-working time. So could see me twice a week. And the course covers everything you would need to know to have an organized home, to have an organized office. But the main parts that create the transformation are we talk a lot about planning and how to actually do the stuff, right? Like you say you want to do these things and then life happens and then it doesn't, and you get derailed and you get derailed again. And so we talk a lot about not just the planning, but how to like all the strategies for actually staying on track, but more importantly, getting back on track. But half of the time is on internal clutter. So we talk a lot about our like our thoughts and our beliefs. And then we develop what I call the internal clutter toolkit, because the main thing in making a change in your life is, controlling what's in here. Like, I don't know, meditating or journaling is not going to change that. Or we talk about sense or sound or like so many different things, or tapping, or just all of these things. They're not going to stand alone create change or get you to be more organized or get you to actually carry out what you say you're going to carry out. But as tools, they're really helpful. And certain people like certain ones, or they like certain ones in different stages of their life. So I introduce them to a lot of those tools. And it's it's through the community and talking and seeing that, wow, these people have the same struggles. And so I'm teaching them the practical, and then it's the community and the support that really creates the change.
Woo, I like that a lot. I heard, even though you didn't use the words verbatim, somewhere in that dialogue you were talking about, they articulate the plan, the vision, if you will.
Right.
But then life happens, and I'm big on action steps and accountability.
Mhm.
And I was just saying this to someone that's wrestling with some vision the other day, and I forgot who the quote is, but it's one of my favorite quotes. Vision without action is just hallucination.
Oh, yeah. I
I'm
forget who
like,
said that as
ooh,
well.
yeah, it's power. I should know it as powerful as it is, but it's so true. So so it's capped at 6 people. How would someone that's hearing this, that's interested in that, or just in general, the things that you do, where would they learn more about it?
So my website is conquerthechaos.com. And there are, just like we've talked about today, the two different sides of me and my business. There's office organizing information on there, and then there's clutter coaching information on there. And so under the clutter coaching, it talks about the group. I also have a Facebook group online that I love called Less Clutter, More Peace. And so people can find me there. But yeah, just come into my world through one of those ways, and we'll talk.
And I've got Kerry's socials, so we'll put those links in the show notes as well. Um, Forgive me if this has already taken place because I am at that age. I may have forgotten. But have you already written a book on this subject?
No. And it I am writing it now.
Okay.
My book is the whole title is still working, but it's about unplanning, and it's about how people resist planning, but having just enough structure can create the freedom that you're actually looking for. And so it incorporates
Mm.
all of my thoughts and tools. And
Well, you're on here live, so I'm going to ask, can we do you have a
great.
working title and a potential published date?
I do have my working title, and darn it if I can't think of it, which probably means I need to change it, because if it's not catchy enough
Mm.
for me, it's not catchy enough for the general public. But it starts with unplanning. And the way I envision it is the un is like in parentheses, like it's planning, but not planning. And so that second part, I can send it to you. But honestly, now I'm thinking it's not good enough if I can't remember it.
Well, maybe I'm just the gentle nudge that you needed.
You are. Yeah, you are. People are probably going to
Um,
send me ideas now, but
yeah, that happens. Let us know as that continues to
I
progress.
will.
And what would you say to the person that may watch this in the next few weeks that is having internal battles and needing some encouragement, needing some hope? Um, we say here on the You Are Worthy Network all the time that God's not done with your story yet.
Right.
And that whatever season you're in, if you're in a down season, a wilderness season, a struggling season, that keep going because some of the best chapters of your life are still in front of you. So,
Mhm.
along those lines, what would you encourage our viewers with today?
Very similar to that. I was going to say it's worth it.
Mm,
Yes, if things have gotten really out of control, messy, for lack of a better word, whether it's physical, digital, whatever kind of clutter it is, it's worth it because even the smallest changes create a different feeling in you and elevates your day to day living. You don't have to have a perfect home. I don't have a perfect home. But if you can navigate through your home, find what you need when you need it, get your work done, find what you need at work, your life improves. So it's worth it. You don't have to do it anybody else's way. You can do it based on your brain, your learning style, but it is worth the effort.
wise words from Kerry Thomas. It's worth it. Kerry, I can't thank you enough for persevering and getting on the books and for sharing your wisdom, your experiences, and your vulnerability with us today. It's been really, really great having you. Like I said, we'll have all the social media links for Carrie in the show notes, so you can reach out to her if you're having internal clutter, or maybe if you're just like me, looking at your desk and saying, "I could use a little bit of help," or something more major. Carrie does it all. Fascinating topic, fascinating work that you're doing. I really appreciate you.
Thank you. This is a great conversation. I appreciate it as well.
Absolutely, you made it easy, guys. Your story's not over yet. You're worthy of love, respect, and success. Why? Because of the blood of Jesus. And your story's not over. Keep going. I appreciate each one of you. Till next time, take care.